Okay, I'm going live now. Hey everybody, it's Pat. I am excited. I thought I'd just stop in and say hello. I know. I didn't tell you in advance I was going to do this, but I figured you're okay with that. You can always watch the whole recording. What I'm going to do is bring up the. I'm going to take my tablet and find this going on my tablet, so I can see what you're doing. So I just got back from Houston the other day from the trade show, and I know lots of people are right now at the festival in Houston, the Quilt Festival, which is amazing. But me, I'm getting ready tomorrow to go traveling down to the area of Southern Virginia where the Quilt Museum is, the Virginia Quilt Museum. And that is where my exhibit is hanging. And Saturday, getting my days confused, on Saturday I will be at the museum almost the entire day and hanging out to talk to you about my quilts. So I'm sort of have this very short window from getting back from one event and leaving to the next one. So it's been a little bit crazy for me. It takes a little time to wind down when I do a big event like that. I need to come home. I need to go through all my stuff. I have to do follow-ups. And since I'm not home very long, I'm going to be doing a lot of that when I come back. So, but today I thought I would just show you a little bit about what is going on and what I've been working on. So let's see, I'm going to go to the video page at Quilt Along with Pat Sloan and see if I can get the video to come up and get some comments, see which comments are. Now, there's a couple different things I wanted to share. One of them is that I mentioned the other day I would be doing some sew-alongs from my books here in the Facebook group. And the exciting news is that this month, my machine quilting book, where is it? Got it down here on the table. This one. That one is on the Book of the Month at the Fat Quarter Shop. So the link is below. And for those of you, I'll do a recap at the end if you're just joining me at some point during this. So let's see. What was the best in Houston? Mary wanted to know. There was, I went to the trade show, which means there's a lot of things that are, most everything, a lot of things that are shown actually don't come out into the stores for sometimes 6 months. So it's quite a long time before you'll actually see a lot of that. This is a place where shops come and order, and then the fun stuff will show up. But one of the things was I noticed a lot of really fun fabrics, which of course that's my favorite thing. Look for the fun fabrics. Lots of sort of cool new ways of playing around with them in people's books and patterns. So I wanted to it's for me, like I'm there, I'm not a shop owner, so I'm not buying for a store. I'm doing, I'm showcasing my own work. So it's a little bit different. I don't go to the trade show like a shop owner would go to the trade show. I'm a designer, so I look at things differently. I was actually doing a lot of work to find new guests for my talk show, and that was really great. I got to chat with people, and I got to see people who'd been on my show that I'd never met in person. So very, very fun things. Okay, anybody? I've got the 2 cameras there. So what I want to do is I was talking to my friend Adita Sitar, and she has a lovely, absolutely lovely new book out with Martingale. And so what I want to do is show that to you, because here's the cover. It's like, oh my gosh, called Patches of Blue. She is so talented, and the pictures in here are amazing. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to bring it down and show you on close-up. Woo. So most of these photos, if not all of these photos that are in her book, she took herself or her daughter because they are really awesome photographers. And she did, like some beautiful photos like this of showcasing how they would look in your home. And she has a collection, Adita does, of antiques. So there's this whole section of antique quilts. And she lives in California right now, so surfboards. So fun. Let me see, one of my favorite quilts. This is one of, it's called a Burgundier. Oh, I can't even pronounce that. It's a puzzle. But this is one of my favorite quilts of hers. And this one is in her collection. Plus she shows an antique version. And things, quilts on the bed. Look at that. Look how beautiful those are. Lots of piece, but she's also known for applique. Look at these. Here, I'll show you that one. Look at that picture. So beautiful. Now, this was the best one. So I was talking to her about this photo, and the VW bug, this bug belongs to a friend of theirs. So that was really neat. She had them come over and bring their VW for a photo shoot. I just love that. And then there are patterns. So of course, in her, she has a lot of there are pieced patterns in the book, and then there's some with applique. But I wanted to show you. Let me see. She's got. Let me find one of them. Yeah, so there's a book that is one of my favorites that came along, and I'll put a link to that one. So this is something you probably want to have in your library. Now, the other cool thing that's coming along is that I was part of one of the Moda All-Star books. So we had a whole big event at the show to have a fun we had a beauty pageant. And my row on here is the campers. So I'm a glamper, like glamour camping, right? I'm not like pitching a tent. I need like a cute little camper. And we're going to have a whole sew along from this book. Here's some of the guys on the back. Whee! So there's going to be a tour, I guess it'd be a better way to say it, a blog tour of all the authors, and that's coming up in a few weeks. So let me show you this. So for this book, for the On the Road, we're going to do a tour, and there's some, really cute things like the picket fence and the owls. The tour part, where everybody who did a strip in here is going to have something about it and talk about it, and then you can go along and visit everybody. Yay! I love those. I love being able to find out what everybody's doing, what all they're thinking, what the other designers thought about their row when they were creating it. That book's set up sort of in categories, and so that's how they're grouped in the book. Let me see if anybody has another, what you're talking about over on the comments, to let it come in. What else? So I mentioned earlier that we would be doing some sew-alongs here in my Facebook group from my books. I think doing them here in the group will be a little bit more effective for everybody, because then I can give sort of an assignment from the book. Like the machine quilting, because everybody wants to do some more machine quilting. So if we're going through here, we might try one of the techniques, and then you would go and, everybody would work on it. And I'll come up with a plan for that, and we'll work through, maybe you would do, a project. Whoops. I've got that backwards. There we go. There we go. You can see it, right? Right. That's like the star. So one of the projects in that book is easy. Like that star is really easy to put together, and then we can use it to try out techniques. Because I know that a lot of times you don't want to have something that's very precious that you've spent a lot of time on to try out a technique. So there are many of the things in my book that are smaller, like that star, that you could build it very easily and then use it to work through. And I'm not sure when I'll figure all that out. Sometime soon. The other one that I want to do is my newest book, and this is what I was talking about at the trade show with everybody. Is teach me either to make my first quilt, or I've written this so that if you have sort of holes in your knowledge base, because a lot of people do, there's a lot to learn when you're first learning things, and maybe you want to sort of revisit terminology or revisit reading a pattern or certain techniques. I will use this book for so long to guide us so that we can sort of up the ante and figure out. And it's got all kinds of step outs. So, whoops, got lots of things that you can see. So there's photo step outs so that I show you, and you can just follow right along. And there's tips for how to read the block specs, different things like that. Yay! Okay, those are all of those projects, and that I plan to just sort of have us do. So I'm gonna say Leela's on here tonight, this afternoon. Arlene, Julie, everybody. Mary loves my talk show. Thank you, Mary. I have whole bunches of new guests that I'm going to be contacting, like a whole group of people that it was really wonderful at the trade show to be able to go into their booth, see their work, sort of talk to them a little bit about their experiences. That was really wonderful. Okay, the other thing that I was doing this afternoon is when I'm getting ready for the show, I often can't have time to sew regular stuff, or sew for the projects that we're doing, because I'm doing a lot of other things. So this afternoon, I did some sewing. Look, I'm going to show you. You know what this is, right? Ta-da! These are the Be My Neighbor blocks. This is the next one, so I intend to post that on Saturday over at I Love to Make Quilts, and I'll put the link to that so you can see all the house blocks. They're all there already, but it's more fun to sew along, like to say, okay, let's all do this one. There's also a tree that goes here, so that's what I'm working on, is the tree. But I just had so much fun taking a break today and putting together the house, so that it would be, I could get on to the next one. I do have a second colorway of the house, but I've not been working on that one. So I'm just mostly working on the Christmas one. I'll switch this over so you can see. Here it is. So I did the center of it with a much stronger pinwheel color, like reads more solid, so that it could be pretty strong color, emphasizing that pinwheel. And then I fussy cut the rectangles, because this is a rectangle and you're doing sew and flip on the sides. So this is directional. See them? So I wanted all of the trees going up on all of these. So this was a rectangle from here to here, but when I'm down here, like for this deer, the rectangle had to be this way. So as I cut the fabric, I had to do strips this way for 2 of them, and then I had to do horizontal strips for 2 of them, keeping track of the direction of my directional fabric. And when you do sew and flip flying geese like that, it is super easy, because This piece doesn't move. This piece stays the same. These move. So if these were directional, it would have been a little trickier. But with this not being directional, with this not being, staying the same, your whole rectangle was right here. Yay! So that means once I do this block, I have the first row and the second row of Be My Neighbor in the Christmas fabrics done. So excited! Okay, what is going on down here? So Danette loves my campers and loves the blue book. So have you done a blue and white quilt? Anybody done a blue and white quilt? I've trying to think. I've done red, white, and blue, lots of those. And I'm sure I've done just blue and white. I have done blue and white. I just remembered. I did a house quilt in blue and white. It's been a little while ago. So, because I've been, so the other thing I've been working on, because between now and Thanksgiving, there'll be two things. One is our next block of the month mystery with freequiltpatterns.info. That one will be announced before Thanksgiving, what the theme is and what my fabric choices are, of how I'm going to work on it. It'll be very similar to this year where it's sort of a bulk of fabric, like, let's just say red, like this much red, and you can make it scrappy or not scrappy. And then I will also tell you what the theme is for the next weekly sew along for I love to make quilts. Like right now we're doing Grandma's Kitchen, and I will announce what the next one will be and what kind of fabrics I'll be using for that, so that you get all of that before Thanksgiving and know where we're going or where you want to go or what you might want to shop for. It's all about the shopping, or shop your stash, add to it, go get something entirely new. Also, if you are following along on the Splendid Sampler, I've been posting weekly. We're sewing from the book, so I've been sharing that in this group here, Quilt Along with Pat Sloan. And you can also see lots of options of that book over at the Splendid Sampler group, where it's lots of things going on. Okay, who's sewing tonight? I wonder what you're sewing. Okay, so Claire likes the flying geese instead of half square triangles. That's cool. Sometimes flying geese do the job. It depends on what you're making, I guess. So you're getting back to quilting. See, Leanne is here from Texas. All right. Okay, so there's somebody from Danville. So Sarah, if you're in Danville, are you coming to Harrisonburg, Virginia it's a little bit of a drive maybe for you on Saturday when I'm at the Virginia Quilt Museum. I'm going to be there, and when I'm at the Virginia Quilt Museum on Saturday, that is their business meeting day for, not business meeting, a member meeting, that's the right word, a member meeting day for people who are members of the museum. They have a morning meeting. So I will be at their sort of mixer, like before the meeting starts, and then I'll go right over to the museum. So I'll probably be at the museum by like 10:30, 10:45. I'll be next door prior at the bigger meeting. And then I'll be there till the late afternoon, and I will be down in my exhibit area, which is on the lower level, and there's 2 rooms. So you can come in and I'll give you a little personal tour of some of the key items in my exhibit, why I put them in there, tell you a little bit about them, and then answer anything you want to know. So that will be so fun. I've been looking forward to this, well, since they've asked me, which has been almost a year now, a year ago, that the museum asked me if I would put this together. So it's been like so exciting and very cool to see it. I haven't seen it again since I hung the show, so this is going to be my second time to come in and see it hanging. And then I'll get to go see all the other exhibits hanging, because the day I put mine up, all the others weren't yet up. Some of them were, but not all of them. So I get to see the rest of the exhibits, because the museum changes them. I think the new exhibits like 3 or 4 times a year. So they're always rotating. and they have themes, and there's a wide variety of styles of quilts. And then there's a room with a bunch of little toy sewing or miniature sewing machines, so that's very cool too. All right, we've been on here chatting a little while. Let me see if there's any other questions, and then I'm going to finish my neighborhood block, and tomorrow I will be traveling since I have to go down there, because it's a little far to go to be there first thing in the morning unless you get up really early, and I don't want to get up really early, so I'm going to go down. Okay, so who is that? Jerry is working on one of the table runners from the free patterns, and oh, so Anna's in Waynesboro. She's 40 minutes. Anna, you have to get to the museum. You're only 40 minutes from Harrisonburg? Yes, it's right downtown. I'll put the link is going to be here. When I finish, the link, well, it's actually there right now. If you go up, the link is in the post right now. I put the museum link. So, okay, so Diane's going to see me in Florida in February, beginning of February. I'm in the Florida area teaching. Yay, and there's Dawn in Australia. Wonderful. So, okay, folks, this has been a lot of fun. In the beginning there, I talked a little bit about one of my favorite books, my friend Adita's book, The Patches of Blue. Showed you what was in that. And then I want to be sure that you watch for the tour from the Moda All-Star book, which will be, I think my day is, I don't know, the 15th or 14th of November. And then the Teach Me book is on sale. It's the book of the month. Yay! Okay, everybody get something to sew tonight. Share some chatter in the group. And I will, I'll be on there. I'll come in and answer any more questions you have. So if you have other questions, just leave them in the post and I'll come back in and answer them. This is Pat Sloan for Quote Along with Pat Sloan. Thanks for being here.